Hey guys, how's it going? So, I made a video about this about a day or two ago about Brock Lesnar's re-signing with WWE, how I think it's a bad idea. But I've been looking around, I've been reading around on a few websites, and it seems like this is a legitimate confirmation. Some new details have been revealed about Brock Lesnar's new contract, and apparently it is $630,000 per pay-per-view fight with WWE. And the breakdown is it's $127,000 for every appearance he makes, even without wrestling. So this guy is making $637,000 per pay-per-view fight, and then $127,000 for every TV appearance, even if he doesn't wrestle. So this guy is making bank, and look, more power to him. He's 4 years old, he's worked hard, but look, I go back to the same thing. Why the fuck is WWE doing this? Like, they're just wasting money. This guy is not going to provide he's not going to provide any return on all this money you're giving him. Like, and I wouldn't have as much of a problem with this if they use Brock Lesnar correctly, but they don't use him correctly. They give him all this money in this lucrative contract, and they do shit with him. And they're just pouring money out and getting almost nothing in return. It's like, come on. You guys should at least have the common sense to be like, okay, this guy, we're paying a shit ton more than we should, and in the first place, but we're not getting any return on this. Like, yeah, he shows up for a match, but it's hard to even sell him as a grand, a grand spectacle when the guy doesn't show up like once every 6 to 10 months and does like one match and has Paul Heyman repeat the same promo shit for him, and he does a few suplexes and jump up and down, have some pyro, and call it a day. When that's all he does, I really don't see what the point in re-signing him with this much money is. I mean, you have talent on the roster who can carry the brands, both Raw and SmackDown. You don't need Brock Lesnar. This is not like a case of they don't have any other guys that they can rely on to be main eventers. They got AJ, they got Shinsuke, they got Kevin Owens, they got Rusev. They got a few guys, not to limit it to those people, but they have a good bulk of people on the main roster, and even in NXT if they wanted to call them up, that can carry both brands and can be support pillars for both those brands. You don't need Brock Lesnar. And really, to me, it's just like they're wasting money just because. And I keep going back to this. They're in cost-cutting mode. They've been doing all these cost-cutting, efficiencies to try and reduce costs, from pyro to cutting talent, all these different types of cost-cutting methods. And then you turn around and you throw all this money at a guy who's not going to give you that money back. I'm almost certain of that. Like, because it's not even that I don't think he's a draw, but it's the fact that he doesn't show up enough to give you that type of return. It's not like this guy is going to be showing up on a weekly or bi-weekly basis and doing matches and, showing up for promos of Paul Heyman. That's not the case. This is a case of, he's going to get all this money. He's going to show up maybe once every 4 or 5 months. We're going to forget that he's even there probably. And he's going to show up, look mean, do a few suplexes, bounce up and down, have some pyro, and call it a day. That's what's going to happen. And they're not going to make that money back. And that's what my main issue with this is like, it's one thing to do this in general, but when you're in the cost-cutting mode that they were in, and then maybe they're not, but from what I remember, they're still in cost-cutting mode. Why would you give all this money to this guy who, for one, doesn't show up enough to even give you back that money? If the logic is, well, this guy is a big draw, he's a main event, and we'll make our money back, that would work if he showed up enough to be able to give you return. The problem is he does not show up enough to give you return. He shows up once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times if it's a pay-per-view season, and that's it. And half of the times he shows up, he's not wrestling, he's just standing there, and Paul Heyman's doing the talking. So half of it's not even him, it's more so Paul Heyman hyping him up and talking for him, being used as mouthpiece. And when Brock Lesnar wrestles, it's the same shit. Suplex, suplex, repeat, maybe a few open punches, bust a few people open. That's it. That's all Brock does. And, I just sit there and I'm like, come on, guys. Like, if you're going to sign this guy to a deal like this, at least get something more out of this guy. Like, I would sit down with Brock and be like, look, if we're paying you this much money, you're going to be showing up more and doing more. Because that's just how they have to be. Like, you can't just be like, oh, well, it's Brock Lesnar. We don't want him to go to UFC, which he may end up doing anyway with this contract. But besides the point, you can't just like give in and just throw all this money at him and be like, oh, you can show up like once every 10 months and that's fine. You're unnecessarily wasting money that could be used on better talent that show up every day, that are there full time, that come to the house event, that come to the main events and the house shows, that do the hard work instead of just showing up every, like year or so and calling it a day and getting a paycheck. So, that's my thoughts. I think this is a bad idea. I hope that he's not here for that long. I hope this is like not legitimate, but it looks like it is because I've been looking on Cage Side and a few other websites, and it looks like this is in fact the new deal. If that's the case, this is very, very disappointing, and I hope WWE at least comes to their senses and at least try and get more out of this guy than what they're getting, because they're just ripping themselves off for no reason, and I don't understand it. Maybe Vince just has an affinity for Brock, and that's why they're giving him all this money. I don't know, but that's my thoughts on it, and I think with that said, I'm going to call it a day, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.